Back Road Ministry of the World Premier, Mr. Marketing, coming back at you live and direct. So here we are. The days continue as the Iran and Israel portion of World War III ramp up. America sits on the sideline. And as we said, I put in my video, can Israel trust MAGA? And we see they can. Uh, this is a war of Zionism versus Islam. That war can be fought in many different ways. We pray that a nuclear weapon isn't fired, because if a nuclear weapon is fired one way, a nuclear weapon will be fired this way. So we prepare for these things. I want my viewers to understand that this is the changing of a reality, and we've been preparing for this for several years. So if technology goes dark, find safe haven, find safe places to meet up with certain people that you trust, that you know have your best interests at heart and are about survival. We talk about oil and power grids going down, so I hope everybody got that generator. I'll be taking mine out tomorrow to get it primed. I'm doing that tomorrow morning, getting my generator primed up. Get your gun. You're gonna need a handgun. You're gonna need a rifle. You gotta protect your generator, so you gotta get something to protect your generator. So definitely get those things. This is where we are. This is their reality. It's not our reality. We just have to survive it. And they've been moving to this point for several years, but things like this have to happen to restructure their reality. So oil will be affected. As I say, they got to push us into these electric cars. Elon Musk was brought in play for a reason. Tesla stock could skyrocket at some point because everybody could have a Tesla. So those are just things to watch. These are just speculations, things to watch. We don't know if this is part of the prophecy, but just be on the watch for those type of things. Remember, they had to move us into these electric cars. They got to move you into the digital currency. So for this to happen, you have to go to a period of despair for all these changes to take place. So Trump, as we said, is the bringer of the rapture. Him and Netanyahu. These are the trumpets. These are the men who bring forth the rapture. You see right now, Israel is struggling. They need Trump to save them. What is he going to do? Is he going to fire a nuke at Iran? And in that case, nukes will be fired at us. And this is the beginning of nuclear war, nuclear holocaust. And a lot of people pay the price for the changing of reality in these ways. So everybody said, well, nobody wants to drop a nuke. The only country to ever fire a nuke is America. I just want everybody to know that. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're the country to fire the nuke again and then we get nuked. So when you go into the realms of nuclear war, anybody could start this nuclear war. Anybody can start this nuclear war. So it's testy to see who fires the nuke first. Is Iran going to get nuked? Is Israel going to get nuked? Because remember, once this nuke is fired, the land masses in that area, everything's affected. Nuclear fallout affects everything. So even Israel would pay the price if there's a nuclear bomb. They'll pay the price. Everybody in that region is pretty much going to pay the price of just the years worth of chemicals and diseases and change of atmosphere. And right now you can see the change in atmosphere with them just blowing up the atmosphere from the distance they at. All that affects the atmosphere and affects the earth. So imagine a nuclear bomb right now going off and how that might affect the earth. But this is the period and place that we at. And sad to see, but this is the prophecy. As we said, Israel was not supposed to be around that long. Jerusalem will be reborn, and Jerusalem will be born in a different way. Jerusalem will be born in a different way. So this is the rebirth of Jerusalem, the end of Israel, the rebirth of Jerusalem. And that'll be the changing of the region. But to happen, that region has to go through a whole bunch. Oil will be affected, so just get ready. Because as I said, in my opinion, could this be a way of moving you into that electric car? And we see people going to need electric cars. They're going to be willing to do anything to get around, and they're going to flood the market with those electric cars. Now, the only problem with that is, remember, the infrastructure is not designed for all these electric vehicles. That's another thing. And if we're talking about gas shortages, we'll be talking about power shortages. So you have to have a generator because you're going to be off grid for a while. So that's why we say get your generator. Be comfortable living with small amounts of power. Maybe one room, maybe this. Phones, all that stuff. You're gonna lose those things for a minute. That's why you see everything kind of going haywire. Cell phones ain't working right. Just be ready not to have those things. If you got books, get ready to bust them out and read them for your entertainment purposes. Getting back to traditional ways of survival. So you need all these things. I hope people have these things in their house. I hope people have these things in their house because you're going to need these things. For our elders, send them to places that are safe, be it places in the South that are strongholds, that are protected, where food is plentiful, where people are still growing provisions. Like I say, we pray there's no nuclear warfare because that will poison the land, and the land will take years to heal from anything that's radioactive. So we got to be very mindful of those things. As far as people of color or black Americans and other folks of color, the radiation, that's something that we physically would have to get ready for because there would be physical changes and you have to be prepared for that. So we pray that it's like you're praying for something that is going to happen. So you just mentally prepare for it. So we're mentally prepared. We've been in this moment and ready for this moment for many years. We're now in the moment. We've been trained. For those who have studied behind Children of Israel's channel and the information Brother WWIII put out, some of the information that Zach put out. A lot of people who went dark. I've still have continued to come and bring certain things to people. I've thrown out warnings and continue to throw out warnings just to watch this situation continue. And don't listen to anything the media is saying as far as anything Israel is doing as far as success. They're not successful. A 75-year-old boy can't beat a 1,000-year-old man. That 1,000-year-old man is a lot more slicker and trucker. He has more tricks up his sleeve than that 75-year-old boy. So just remember that. It wasn't designed for Israel to win this war. Like I say, they need America to win this war. And that goes back to Trump really not trying to be involved because he's not supposed to be. He's not supposed to be. Now he's talking about a 2-week delay. In 2 weeks, Israel will be decimated. He knows this. He knows this. So they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And you got to remember, for those folks in that region who've been living a certain way for a long period of time, these are people who put you on top just to put you back on the bottom. They want that land mass. They want to share the resources amongst each other. They always had the ultimate plan for the Christian church to come up in there. They sold you out to Christianity. They've always sold out that region. It was just a matter of time before they set up the pieces where they could just do what they wanted to do. They want Israel to be a hot tourist spot. That's just what they want. Just what they want. So you're just in the middle of a situation where you thought the people around you cared about you, but they don't. They never did. They never did. And it's the people that grew up in that region that always pay the price for outsider coming in and creating problems, which has been going on for years now. So this is where we are, deep into World War III. Do we have the nuclear part of World War III? We're waiting to see. Prepare yourself. Get your generator, get your weapons, find your food source. I hope everybody's been able to do that. Get you a lot of books because you'll need entertainment. Get ready to live with limited nighttime light. Therefore, get your candles. I'm going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to buy as many candles as possible because you're going to need your candles. So get as many candles as possible because you're going to need all these things as we move into this stage of survival. Mr. Monty Back Row Ministry, peace and hair grace.